minor language warning for this video because I'm a little upset, but we'll get to all that stuff later. First thing I want to say is that if you were the fat ass with the blue shirt in the baseball hat at the show, I hope you thought like long and hard about what you did, and I hope that I hope you're improving as a person, because you're a jackass and everyone there hated you, absolutely hated you. You're awful. You're terribly awful. For some context to people who don't know this, which I assume none of you would unless you were specifically at the show, there are these two people that I noted and I was told of that thought it was okay to just be touching women, just that like weren't even like looking at them, just walk up and feel them up, like that was okay. No relation, nothing, could be any age, who knows, but they just thought that was okay. One of them was this fat ass I was talking about. I hope your arteries clog up because you seem to be making that happen. And the other guy, I mean, the only thing I could read off was potentially like fascist leaning. And like I was just telling by his look, I'm like, you look a little fascist. Yeah, I hope you two have a terrible day. Hope you just think about what you did, because that was pretty awful to watch. Really ruined the vibe of the show. And the fact that there was a guy with just who had a battle jacket with mostly NSBM patches. I'm talking about he had Graveland, Peste Noir, Satanic Warmaster, a Burzum patch. I don't really count, but like still, once it's amongst those, it's a little sketchy. And I think he had an Immortal patch, which isn't affiliated, but like it's the odd one out, and also a Death patch. When he was like able to behave and you people weren't, like that, what does that say about you? Like, what could that possibly say about you? Like, the dude who like is being inherently edgy just to be edgy is like being a fine viewer of the show, and you can't. That certainly says a lot about you. But anyway, hi. If you're watching this video, I'm sorry for that opening, but as you could probably tell, there was an issue at the show, and it was the crowd. A lot of the crowd was not up to snuff. I've not been to many black metal shows myself, of which two of these bands were black metal bands. Obviously, Mayhem and the U.S. black metal band Bloodstained Dusk. Apparently, there's symphonic black metal, but here I wasn't really hearing any symphonic elements. I think they're just playing it straight up. A little different than what I expected. When it was Bloodstained Dusk, they were the opening band. You literally saw Midnight's poster behind them. Like, they had their big old tapestry, their huge stage tapestry. And during that, they just played their black metal set, and you had a small crowd of probably like 100 people, all standing, arms crossed. You know, that's normally what I assumed a black metal vibe would be. I have not been to like a smaller black metal show. I was thinking that they would probably get that approach. That was that crowd. The crowd for Midnight. Midnight was like a speed metal band, heavy metal band, kind of Motorhead leaning, but more guitar than like bass. Very vulgar, kind of silly, but they were certainly fun. A lot of people moshed to them. Super fun, very loud band. I enjoyed them. The crowd was moshing to that, and I was fine with that. What I was surprised by was a lot of the crowd moshed to Mayhem, actually. I know Mayhem's a little popular, but like kind of interesting to see that. I know they're like not entirely like in the black metal scene anymore. Like after the 2000s, they kept on like innovating in their own way, sort of like an outsider to like how black metal was continuing. Not a complaint, just kind of an interesting a note, I guess, to make. So, and a lot of the crowd I felt like was not like a lot of people who like listen to a bunch of black metal, because there were a lot of moshing and just I mean, they're having fun, which I can't blame. But I'm gonna get into the sets, and I'm gonna sound a little negative for this whole video because the crowd really ruined a lot of the experience. Not that it wasn't fun. There was a lot of good stuff to it. But I guess I'll start with Bloodstained Dusk. Bloodstained Dusk was a two guitarists who were both vocalists. black metal band with a bassist and a drummer. The bassist, during his playing, he was really shredding the bass. Like, he was really just going all the way around. Like, the guitarists, they're both playing like two separate parts, chord based, not even like separated, just like the straight up like power chords and stuff, like dissonant riffing, minor chords, that whole thing. So basically they're pretty derivative, pretty generic, but it's not really criminal because like they were also like really fun. And besides the fact that they were fun, was like they had some riffs. They certainly had some riffs. They looked like they didn't have much experience in like a bigger show. Not that the show was huge. This was at the Masquerade in Atlanta. Not like that it was like a huge show, but it wasn't like a small show either. For their set, it was pretty small. Like, definitely people were starting to trickle in for their set. They were definitely kind of immortal feeling, where it was like, this is campy. But at the same time, like, I did really enjoy it. They all had corpse paint, of course. This is a band that felt like very honored to be a part of like a Mayhem set, especially because of Mayhem's lineage. If you don't know the history of Mayhem, I don't know why you're watching this video, but if you don't, like, go read up on it. It's super interesting and terrible, but it's absolutely worth reading about. But Bloodstained Dusk, I don't like the name, honestly. I don't like that name of that band. It feels kind of bizarre. But I think they did a great job. The two vocalist approach was really fun. The drums, I felt like they were being like mic'd up oddly, because it felt like they had like too much echo or reverb or something. Because it felt like at points they were like off, but like I couldn't really tell. And then we went into Mayhem, not Mayhem, and then we went into Midnight. And Midnight was the speed metal band. It was a 3-piece band of a guitar dude who was mainly doing like rhythm stuff, but he was just shredding all over. The band was very vulgar, like shouting like a lot of like cursing a whole bunch, and just having a good time. Honestly, just a good time. They were loud. They were super loud. But I couldn't lie and say that they weren't like fun. They all wore like these big black like hoods that like covered their faces, which was sick. And the dude was yelling up there. Super good time. People were moshing, jumping around. A lot of people knew Midnight's music. I actually don't know Midnight's music very well, but I totally recommend seeing them at this point because they're just super fun. And now to get to who I actually am pretty much here to talk about, Mayhem. Mayhem I'm a big fan of. I just finished listening to their discography and expect a video on that in probably the coming month. I've got like 3 videos to do until then, so please be a little patient. Mayhem, they first of all like did a ton of smoke, and then out came all the members and Attila. All the members were just in black, and Attila was in full Hell Priest regalia. His outfit was sick, and it fit the vibe perfectly. It was creepy, really demonic and stuff, really awesome. And the way he was on stage, which he was like, I almost want to describe it as like he was doing the robot, except it was super creepy and super effective, and I loved every second of what he was doing. It was so creepy up there. Not to mention Hellhammer, when he was on the drums, the lights were flashing on the same time as like all his hits. Super bright. Don't go if you have epilepsy. I think you'll probably have some serious issues with that. But they broke it up into 3 sets, and I researched into this, and that's how they did it. Their first set is pretty much everything after Day Mysteries. It's their longest of the 3 sets, at about like 5-6 songs. They do a couple bangers. They do Malum off of Damon. They do My Death off of Chimera, which was probably the strongest track they played off of the first set, because he had all this stuff up there. He had like an upside down. He had like a cross of like bones. He had like a skull. But for My Death, he was holding up a noose, and it was really morbid and creepy. I was really getting into. And then they all walk off for a second, and then I could tell the tapestry switched from the Damon album cover to something else. I thought it was maybe Day Mysteries, but I couldn't tell. I know they were about to play that. And then you hear the voice of When It's Cold, When It's Dark, The Freezing Moon Will Obsess You. They've been doing that since literally 1992, or maybe even earlier. Since Freezing Moon was made, Dead was in the band, and he would say that before they played Freezing Moon. Everyone lost it for Freezing Moon, and so did I, because that was at the time of that, it was probably my favorite Mayhem song. Not a lot of contenders, to be honest, but they played Freezing Moon, and everyone just went insane. I was going insane. A lot of people were moshing into me, and I wasn't part of the group there, so I was like not about that. But they kept doing that, and that was awesome. Freezing Moon was one of the best songs I've seen live. Really awesome. Necro Butcher up there. Also, I gotta mention he had a lot of charisma. He was like saying stuff to the crowd. You didn't really hear him much because he wasn't mic'd up, but he looked just menacing up there. Attila especially. And Hellhammer has the chops for days. So that was really awesome. Then they played another song from Day Mysteries. Those songs are a little hard to recognize. I want to say I don't think they played Buried by Time and Dust because they didn't play anything like that short. But like they had two songs that were really fast. So I'm thinking they played Pagan Fears, and one other song that I couldn't tell you. But the third song they played was Life Eternal. Life Eternal was so creepy. And so much fun. I loved watching Life Eternal. It has that like arpeggio riff that it relies on a lot, which I think black metal bands really need to take a look at Life Eternal in Freezing Moon and realize that there is stuff that like they don't do anymore that they really need to rely on more. So then they finished up their Day Mystery set. They're also all in cloaks, by the way, at this time. So they went off and they came back, and now they're all stripped down and they're all wearing like denim. And they played Sylvester and Fang, or whatever the song is, the opening track of Death Crush. And this is when they did their Death Crush set. Everyone was screaming for Chainsaw, which was super fun. And then they did a few songs from Death Crush, Chainsaw being one of them. And Attila up there, he had like this skull and like this bone cross, and he looked like he was like having sex with like the skull. Super hype, super fun. Basically, Attila stole the show from the second he was on stage. Mayhem was super fun to watch, especially if you like a lot of their material. I like enough of their material to really enjoy this. Basically, not much else to say. Just Mayhem was super fun. With their legendary status, I really enjoyed it. But that's really about it. I hope you guys can see these bands. If you're those people I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, fix yourself. I doubt they're watching at this point. I doubt they even watch it at all. But that's about it. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.